My name's Courtney Gilbert, and I'm the curator at the Sun Valley Museum of Art. The exhibition that we have up this winter is called The Color of Sound. And this exhibition is a look at the relationship between synesthesia and visual art. Synesthesia is the neurological phenomenon by which some people are able to experience one sense through another. Synesthesia takes many different forms, but one of the most common is hearing music or sound and seeing color, pattern, and shape. So this exhibition includes artwork by a number of artists, some of whom have experienced synesthesia in their own lives and have used that to enrich their artwork, and other works by artists who try to create a synesthetic experience for viewers. One of the artists in the exhibition is the 20th century painter VANCE KIRKLAND, who was based in Denver, Colorado for much of his life. KIRKLAND worked in a variety of different styles. He was an artist who embraced change, who was innovative and experimental in his approach to his work. Although KIRKLAND didn't discuss it much during his lifetime, a few years before he died, he revealed that throughout his life he had seen color whenever listening to music. And so he adopted the practice of listening to music as a way to work out his palette. We were able to borrow 3 early watercolors that I think are really interesting examples of the transitions in his career. And then in 4 much later works made in the 1960s and 1970s, we see this beautiful example of KIRKLAND's dot painting style and just this explosion of color and pattern on canvas that literally vibrate before our eyes. Anne Patterson is a contemporary artist who, like VANCE KIRKLAND, sees color, pattern, and shape when she listens to music. She has done enormous installations with materials like ribbon, with sculptures of metal birds, creating physical experiences for viewers of light and color and form. We have 4 of her process sketches where she's made notes about what music she was listening to and kind of what she saw while listening, and along with sketches. We have a series of 31 drawings that represent the month of March from a year-long project that she did called Year of Wonder. And she was inspired to make Year of Wonder after reading a book by Clemency Burton Hill called Year of Wonder, Classical Music for Every Day. And in the book, Burton Hill chooses a piece of music for every day and kind of walks the reader through what it is to listen to that music. Patterson took that same list of music and for the entire year of 2020, listened to each piece and made a beautiful watercolor. And then we have these wonderful kind of kinetic sculptures that Patterson has made from piano wire, resin, and steel. And they sort of come to life as viewers walk by them. They become not just optical, but also kinetic, dynamic pieces. She calls them stars spinning through spring. And they're really this beautiful explosion of form and color too. Daniel MULLEN is a painter who's been working with geometry and hard-edged abstraction for much of his career. He's really interested in the history of painters embracing abstraction as a form of spiritualism and finding spirituality in geometry. Over the last few years, he's been collaborating with the artist and filmmaker Lucy Cordes Engelman, who has synesthesia, and her synesthesia takes a really interesting form. She sees color and shape when she thinks about numbers, time, days of the week, days of the year, days of the month. And so she shares her experience of thinking about numbers, or say 2 different centuries, and what they look like in terms of color, and these kind of planes of color that line up very precisely, and shares that with Daniel, and then he translates it into visual form. So we have these 3 really wonderful paintings which convey, as she has said, better than any other visual representation of her synesthesia, what it is that she sees when she thinks about time. Mary Ellen BUTE was a pioneering animator and filmmaker. She began making films in the 1930s. She actually trained as a painter, but felt in the 20th century that it was important to find an art form that would unite not just color and canvas, but movement, time, sound, bring all of these things together in filmmaking and in animation. So we have 2 films. One is a 1934 black and white film called Rhythm and Light. It is a really wonderfully composed film that sets kind of everyday objects to music by Edvard Grieg. And she tries to create a visual interpretation of what she's hearing. The second film was made in 1947. It's called Color Rhapsody. It's set to music by Franz Liszt, and you can see that BUTE has begun experimenting with animation cells. She's using lots of different, more physical, experimental techniques, working in color to, again, translate music, the experience of listening to Franz Liszt, into a visual form through abstraction for viewers. Brad Johnson is an artist who has been in an exhibition here before. He made a whole body of work called Idaho Survey for an exhibition we did about geology in 2020. And Brad works at the base of his practice is always photography, but he uses photography in lots of really different ways, from creating works on paper to immersive experiences. For this show, he created a brand new piece. It's called Lost in Deep Time. The title reflects the fact that the piece is based on different landscapes throughout the American West, and also Brad's ongoing interest in geology. But the piece is paired with music by a composer named Andy Akiho. So Brad took Andy's music as inspiration for a multi-projection installation that uses techniques like LiDAR and point clouds made from thousands and thousands of images to create an almost three-dimensional experience for the viewer, as well as an abstract experience for the viewer of different landscapes. As viewers experience the installation, they'll see that the imagery is constantly responding to and in sync with the music. And so he, like Mary Ellen Bute, has given us this way of appreciating the music that's not just oral, but is physical and visual as well. The exhibition will be up through March 18th. I hope people will come in and spend some time looking, listening, watching, and letting themselves sort of settle into this world of color and sound and pattern.